welcome to Long Beach Local News. I'm Yasmin Tanres, and today we are spotlighting Art Month. This year, we have some art that is being presented by CSU students, and we've got a couple of students that are joining us to talk about their artwork. And we also have Lacey Lennon, who is the art assistant professor at CSU as well. And so we're going to be speaking to Vesna Lim and Elizabeth Cheverin, about some of their artwork that has been unveiled as of yesterday, right?
Yeah.
The work that I chose to present is a collage that I made in school, and kind of took pieces of like found materials that I kind of related to like identity and what that represented for me and like my family. And I took that and I assembled that to making like different types of images. So it was so I used like materials like wire and recycled leather, and I was drawn to like embroidery, just learning that from my mom, and starting to like draw with embroidery into the images. And that's kind of like what it's about for me.
How about you, Vesna Lim?
My work is somewhere between photographs and sculptures, and a lot of it deals with some specific Cambodian American experiences that my family's had here in the U.S. as immigrants. And there's a lot of shiftings and light changes and color, and in terms of materiality, plastics and donut boxes, and a lot of like very LA things incorporated, I guess.
Lacey Lennon, how have you been involved in these projects?
Yeah, they approached me to work on this, to sort of curate a selection of students who, as a way to kind of showcase some of the work that was happening at Cal State Long Beach. And I, wove together a few students who I felt like were really speaking to and who were really aware of both the time in which they are living, and also just like aware of themselves and how their communities have been affected, kind of somewhat by the pandemic, but also just like how they're now seeing themselves in relation to others. And the images sort of all came together really, I think, naturally, also to represent like kind of what we're doing at Cal State Long Beach, and just the makeup of people who are in school here, and they're as well as within their communities.
It really does sound, from the description of what Vesna and Elizabeth were describing, your artwork sounds very much just not, aside from the fact that it is impactful visually, but in a story sense as well. So just to dig a little bit deeper there, following what you just said there, Lacey, because that's really fascinating. It definitely comes to show the diversity of the community in Long Beach and some of the backstories of people who live there as well. Now, Vesna, how does it feel for you to have your work being displayed in Long Beach by Long Beach Transit?
It's pretty amazing. This is my first time in sort of like the public forum, and there's definitely a bit of anxiety, but honestly, it's just excitement, nervous energy, but it also extends as far out as excitement about it, and also to make work for like the Long Beach community is so much more meaningful, because Long Beach is a very important geographic location for Cambodian Americans just in general as well.
It absolutely is, yeah. Very interesting. Elizabeth, as well for you, how does it feel to have your work on display? And what's a message that you would like the community to take away when they do see your work?
It's really exciting that my work's being shown for the first time in public, and I hope that people can relate to the images and the materials and interpret it in their own way. Yeah, I'm excited that it's also in Long Beach, which is very like diverse, and there's a lot of different communities that I think that could relate to those certain materials like embroidery and such.
Lacy, what are some of the other work that is being displayed, and so, some of the messages that the students also wanted to highlight?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, there's a few other students who are working with collage who are incorporating elements of their personal histories, their families' histories into creating new images. Most of the work really feels like it's emerging out of this place of like they're talking about their life experiences. All of the students are kind of unified in taking these stories that feel very commonplace, they feel very familiar, and really thinking rigorously about how they tell those stories to their communities and communities beyond. And so that feels like a kind of main unifying factor. Um, we have, you know, one of our students, Gabriel Gonzalez, who has been making work about food and like that as a kind of unifying experience among his family. There's other work about kind of collaging her mother's history and her mother's personal history into her own, and she's sort of collaging images and playing with performance. So there's a lot of taking something that feels very familiar and normal and everyday and kind of approaching it and reconfiguring it and playing with it and also deconstructing it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, now that we're talking about it and going sort of bit by bit through it, it's just one of those things where you see a nice piece of art or a mural or a mosaic, and there's so much more to it that you can pay attention to. So I really appreciate the three of you of breaking that down for us here on Long Beach Local News, as well for the people that are watching, so that they can keep a lookout. Head on over to the First Street Transit Gallery. That's on First Street between Pine Avenue and Long Beach in downtown Long Beach. Now, before I let you guys go, of course, we've had the unveiling yesterday, so people can go on over and view all the different art pieces there. Well, thank you so much, Lacy, Elizabeth, and Vesna, for joining us here on Long Beach Local News. And of course, thank you to Long Beach Transit for creating the space for not just spotlighting artists and creators, but also being able to display the work. It's been 10 years now. It's been a decade or so that the First Street Transit Gallery had launched. And it seems that year on year, there's always more to present and to tell about the community of Long Beach. So yes, thank you so much for joining us here again. Do check out more on ridelbt.com/art. I'm Yasmin Tanras. Check out more news stories on Long Beach Local News. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.